Self-Empowerment Radio with your host, Brad Johnson.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the debut episode of Self-Empowerment Radio here on the Awakening Truth Worldwide Network. I'm your host, Brad Johnson, and today, to kick off this very wonderful, immense debut episode of Self-Empowerment Radio, I have a very special guest. I have Carla Rueckert here. Carla, thank you so much for being a part of Self-Empowerment Radio today.
It's my pleasure, Brad, and thank you so much for asking me.
Thank you very much. And I'm just going to give a brief introduction, just in regards to Carla. With degrees in English and library service, Carla Rueckert was working as a librarian and researcher when in 1968 she founded, with Donald Elkins, a group called Love and Light Research. Together with James McCarty, who currently runs Love and Light Research, Rueckert examines new messages and ongoing contact with Ra. Through this contact came the publishing of 5 volumes of the series involving channeled sessions with the entity known as Ra that became the Law of One. You can visit Love and Light Research's website at www.llresearch.org, and you can also visit LNL Research's website with Carla's blog at www.bringforth.org. That's bringforth with the number 4, forth.org. So, Carla, again, thank you so much for being part of the show. And, of course, me just having a background in channeling as well, too, I thought, the best way to open this show would be to have an amazing channeler, of course, on the broadcast. And, I've really looked into your history with a lot of the interviews that you've done in the past and just kind of seeing how all of this unfolded to you. Did you ever think that you would kind of go into this direction about being a channeler, connecting with the raw energy and actually bringing out the kind of information that you have brought out? How is this whole journey, as you look back into it, how does it just feel as it has been played out throughout your life?
That's a difficult question to answer in a brief way, but I will do my very best. It seems to me that my life has been a series of ethical cruxes at which I needed to take the high road. Mm-hmm. And that although it doesn't seem that there could be any correlation between making choices like that and doing what you want to do for your service, that it has been the way it was for me. Let me give you the quickie of my early life. All through my childhood, I was talented in various ways. People thought I was going to be a scholar or a dancer or a performer or a singer. I did all of those things when I was a kid and went pretty far in a couple of them, especially the singing. But in order to go along with the man who was my singing partner in my college days, I married him because we had been offered a contract, and we were to open for Peter, Paul, and Mary in their very first tour. That's how old I am, by the way. I'm 67 going on 68. So, this was way back in the beginning 60s. And the guy said, well, I don't believe in people traveling together unless they're married, so if you want to sign this contract, we'll have to get married. And I said, all right, and we got married. And then he refused to sign the contract. Somebody asked him for an interview, and he freaked. And that was the end of our singing career. Now, of course, I could have, sued him for breach of contract and so forth. But I'm not a litigious person. So I married him. Well, he left me 7 times, took a lover. He had a fairly busy 4 years, not working, not going to school, and acting in general like a kid who just doesn't know what to do next. And so at the very end of the marriage, he left me again, and I decided, well, this is a good time for a change. So I was a children's librarian here in Kentucky, and I thought, wouldn't it be great to live in Boston, that wonderful city? and see if I could get a job as a children's librarian at the second oldest library in the United States, the Boston Public Library. So I got that job, and I was up there looking for an apartment, and my husband called me and said, I need you to come up to Vancouver and take care of me because I can't find a job.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I reviewed the marriage contract, and there was definitely no small print, better or for worse. So I canceled the job that I had been looking forward to so much and left my digs here in Louisville, Kentucky, and went to Vancouver, a wonderful place, and had a great 5 months there. And while I was there, I got an even better offer for a job. I had been working as a research librarian for Simon Fraser University there in Burnaby, right outside Vancouver. And I was offered
I'm very
a
close
job.
to that, actually. I'm very close to that area, actually. So.
Absolutely gorgeous there. But I was offered a way more prestigious and remunerative job as chief librarian for the British Columbia teachers. And I was all ready to go into that job and was thinking, oh, my future is wonderful. So my husband asked me for a divorce. But he said, in order for me to get the divorce, I won't do it here. I can't leave you here. I want to take you back to Louisville. Of course, the last thing I wanted to do is go back to Louisville, Kentucky. Again, the high road seemed to be to do exactly what he said. I went back to Louisville, got my old job back as a school librarian, and proceeded on with life. But life seemed to change a little bit at a time. I had been meditating with Don Elkins and my first husband in an ET channeling group since 1962. And I was going back to those meditations and so forth. So within the next year, Don asked me if I would learn to channel. And I was reluctant to do so, but when the last person that had been able to channel left town, I realized that if I wanted to help Don, and I really did, I needed to make an effort to channel. So I said, okay. So in 1974, I started to try to learn with Don as as the senior channel. He was a very good channeler himself. And Don was pleased enough with my work that he began recording the sessions. He had never recorded anybody's channeling before. So he encouraged me greatly, and I got interested in trying to do better because, as you know, Brad, channeling is very easy to do, but it's the most difficult thing in the world to do well. It's like you look at the piano and you say, well, that's a pretty easy instrument to play, isn't it? And, the answer is, well, if you just want to confine yourself to chopsticks, I can give you, 15 minutes, you got it. But
exactly,
there's a large distance between that and something that moves people and may help them. Well, I also discovered that there was a tremendous amount of refinement involved in preparing oneself to channel and in knowing how to handle contacts appropriately. So with typical librarian researcher mentality that I have, I studied what I was doing, and I could see that if I restricted questions to those that were not fear-based, for instance, I got a much better energy channel and so forth. And so gradually through the years, I learned enough that I guess I would say I was competent now. But even after all these decades of channeling, I always feel that I've not done a great job because there was so much that I couldn't get out. They give you a burst of information, and you basically have to sort of pick it apart and make some words out of it. And it's endless.
Absolutely.
So all you can do is grab what you got and say it, and then let go. It's a constant surrender to the moment, and then you'll get another ball of it's a concept really, and you turn that into words. So it's a channeler is basically a translator. so
yes.
that was my drift into channeling. And, of course, I wasn't, I didn't study for it. I didn't prepare for it. But then when you look back on it, you can see that everything in my life, the dancing, the singing, the skill with words, a reading habit that puts me squarely in the ranks of bibliophiles, and I just love the language, love to read. So I have a lot of advantages, and even things like the singing and the dancing give what I express. It gives the Confederation entities that I channel the opportunity for more rhythm, more balance, and they have a larger bunch of words to choose from. So I ended up not being a bad channel, but I have never liked it. I have never enjoyed it. However, I got so much positive feedback from the very beginning that I never questioned that it was a service, because people simply told me so over and over again. And I still get heartwarming letters, emails every day. And it's just an amazing, fulfilling, wonderful way to see a life turn out. And I firmly intend to be at this pop stand until hopefully I'll be serving the Creator the instant that I die. I'm very happy where I am. I can't think of anything that would be more exciting.
Exactly. And I think just getting the glimpse of the Law of One and the raw material to discover the information, because, again, Don Elkins did ask a lot of technical questions for yourself, and I think as a channeler, that can always be the most challenging thing as well, too. But, I mean, just looking at the essence.
Especially with somebody that studied the arts. Never got any further than plain geometry.
Exactly. But, I mean, just studying the essence of the Law of One and how it is portrayed and how Ra came through, and just all of the information, it is unlike anything else out there in regards to channeling. It's almost in comparison.
I think that credit is not just Ra's, but also Don's. Don was incredibly well prepared for this. He'd been studying the paranormal since the mid-'50s.
Exactly, and I think it's almost like into the idea of how people study Edgar Cayce and what he was doing, and his information that was coming through himself. Of course, then transitioning into the Law of One. It's like you could literally say it is the purest essence of channeling itself for the 20th century. And and there's been people who have been studying it, like David Wilcock, for example, who just lives by the Law of One, still trying to decode a lot of the enigmatic principles that Ra brings out in the Law of One. Even myself, still trying to study it myself and looking into principles, like I'm understanding a lot more through the help of guidance. But I mean, it's just a phenomenal piece of material that has transformed so many, and I think that has inspired them to become channelers as well too. So I mean, it was an incredible accomplishment, basically, on what has been done through that team effort of Light and Late research. Yeah,
it really was, and it was a golden time for all three of us involved. Don Elkins as the questioner, and I as the channel, and also Jim McCarty, who would power the sessions with the battery of his own strengths of will and spirit. He worked as hard as any of us. He's just called the scribe. It doesn't sound very grand, but believe me, he's the rock solid base of the group, and he is to this day, bless his heart. I married him after 3 years after Don died, so he's my beautiful husband as well as my beloved partner in this wonderful collaboration for service to others.
Absolutely, wonderful. And so again, for those who may not be familiar with the Law of One, which I think are probably just a very few, what would you give into the idea of a nutshell, I guess you could say, is the idea of the Law of One? Of what the Law of One is.
The nutshell that we put on the back of our Law of One T-shirts is all is one.
Exactly.
It's very simple words, but if you realize that the person to whom you're talking is the Creator, if you realize that you yourself are the Creator, if you realize that the ground upon which your feet stand is the Creator stance of Earth, if you realize that every moment of your life is the Creator's moment and is a sacred moment, then your life opens up to endless possibilities of soaring higher and more sturdily in the midair of faith. Faith is so often a very difficult thing to pursue. People desperately want a spiritual life. They want a solid core to their walk. And yet they can't fit into Christianity. They can't fit into whatever the religion of their birth or their culture might be. Nothing fits. And they're just, they're other than, that last little check mark, other. when you can't describe yourself as this or that, it's other. Well, there are just so many seekers out there that are kind of dangling and twisting in the wind, and they've had my heart from the very beginning. My whole life is based on my love for the people I don't know who might find the material that we create useful, and it's offered.
And I also like the idea of the philosophy that you have for channeling as well, too, is, when one person themselves is channeling, that's something, of course. When you move on to two people, you're almost channeling the same information. It's kind of like what you do with the channeling you have of recent with this group as well, too, is when you have a whole channeling circle and everybody else is able to tune into that particular entity or collective consciousness of that entity and actually continuing a story, continuing the conversation, continuing the dialogue. And, of course, that's where you get right into the challenge of channeling as well, too, just to actually have that continuing cycle within the channeling circle, to actually have all this information passed on from one person to another. And to me,
I think that,
amazing.
Not to denigrate anybody's channeling, mine, yours, anybody's that channels, and it's just one channel. But if you think about it, you're getting these concepts. That's the way this particular procedure works. You're getting concepts. You're sort of rolling them out into words and language and translating them for people to possibly find helpful. And so the concept gives you more than you can express, right? So if you have been able to train or come together with channels that you trust, then you realize that they have a better opportunity of fully expressing themselves if they come through more than one filter. I've got my blind spots. We all have our blind spots. But everybody around the circle has particular and very special skills that they bring to this art. And
absolutely.
When everything's gone around the circle, then I think that, potentially that would be the clearest channeling. If everybody's got a good contact and the energy has remained very stable. So a lot of the training that I do when I teach people the channel is about discovering that stability within themselves so that they can stand on their own 2 feet metaphysically and challenge spirits.
Absolutely.
So.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, I really enjoy the idea of testing your entities. And of course, I've always done that each and every single time because you always want to make sure that you're connecting to that of the divine Christ consciousness. Are you of the Christ energy? Do you, I love the way you put it as well too. Get them to talk about. Do you service that of the Christ light? Do you know that Jesus is the Lord? All of that. And of course, when you have that form of testing, and even if it feels like it's a little bit off, you do it again. And you do it again until you are fully confident within yourself that entity is that of divine Christ consciousness and it's coming through and presenting you with divine information. Of course, having that continuity within a group environment is it's so amazingly special from my perspective. And I agree as well, too, that when you get into the channeling state, it's like you have a gigantic funnel directly above you and you're trying to squeeze out this little bitty drop, about what the essence is of that. And I get that all the time. I'm trying to translate with the entity that I channel. Drone is just trying to get all of that information because he just dumps a whole bunch of it onto you. And, you being the translator, being the conduit,
it's a challenging job.
It is, absolutely.
People ask me sometimes, well, do you like to channel? And I've always been a reluctant channel. I only do it to be a service, not fun.
Right.
It's a hard job.
Yeah.
And you do not feel in any way, shape, or form that it's going smoothly because,
Yes.
you're catching a ball of concept, you're getting out what you can from it, letting it go, catching another ball of concept. So it's patchy, you're doing this and you're doing that. You're catching, you're translating, you're catching,
Absolutely.
you're translating. And constantly letting go, constantly not following your ego's wishes that you could get the rest of what they were trying to say, but letting it go. So it's a constant period of surrender. So, nobody's more surprised than I am when I see the final version of it, where it's written out and it looks so smooth. I'm going, how did that happen?
That's exactly what happens. I just read the way that you channeled and how you brought it out, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is
but I'm grateful,
amazing. So wonderful.
It works that way.
Carla, all I can say is that to me, I think to quite a few others, you're almost like the mother of channeling. And,
well, thank you. I feel like everybody's spiritual.
And oh, thank you so much. And I mean, just the way that everything is presented and the information and how it comes and how loving it is. I mean, literally, you could hold up the law of one and start feeling it vibrating in your hand because it's so passionate, it's so beautiful. The information that's in it is so divine and so full of truth. And I just want to say on behalf of so many
well, thank you so much.
Read, thank you so much for your blessings, for your dedication to doing this over the years. You have really impacted people who really want to do channeling, who are looking to understand, why am I here on this planet? What is the truth? And you have really brought that out. So, Carla, on behalf of everybody, I want to thank you so much for your dedication over the years, your support and your love in bringing about the Law of One and your channeling services as well, too. It's highly appreciated from me and from many others.
Thank you so much, Brad.
Thank you very much, Carla. And so what we're going to do right now is we're just going to get into a bit of a conclusion because I'm just going to be communicating with Carla here for just under a half hour. And so, Carla, if you want to tell me about llresearch.org, what is that all about? Is it kind of like an archive of the channeling material you have as well as some of the products that you have?
Various parts of my channeling tapes had been transcribed. And around 1990, a fellow in Canada wrote and said that he would be honored to create a website for me. He had retired from business after selling his business to Bill Gates. He was very good with computers, and his plan was wonderful, simple, logical, an archive site. So the first thing we did was he scanned what we had. And this was before the days of computers, so everything was hard copy. Had to be scanned and OCR'd. And he started out with those, and then we went on a big push using many volunteers to get the rest of what I had recorded onto text and onto www.llresearch.org, our archive site. And as you can see, Ian's been doing this for a long time now, 20 years or more. And he's put everything up there. He's put, as people have begun translating our work into other languages, he's put that up there. And, I do conscious channeling as well as the channeling that was done during the raw contact, and he's put all of that Kuo channeling up. Some people actually prefer the Kuo channeling. I think it runs a little heavier on inspiration and not it isn't so much that steely information. I think there's inspiration in the raw material, but it's a little easier to understand, shall we say, in the Kuo material. So each thing has its fans, and so I continue channeling to this day.
Excellent. And I mean, it's just a wonderful collage of so much information and material. So everybody who's not familiar with it, I just advise you to go check out Love and Light Research's website at www.llresearch.org. And of course, there's the companion site that has Carla's blog on it. That is www.bringforth.org. And of course, that's with the number 4, bringforth.org. So Carla, again, thank you so much for being a part of the show today. I really appreciate having you on. And again, everybody just please check out her website and check out the information that is contained within Love and Light Research. There's a lot of amazing, wonderful information there, especially if you want to become a channeler yourself. If you're really, really curious about the information that's brought forth, this is really just the purest form of conduit that you can find in regards to an online website that contains a whole plethora of amazing knowledge. So Carla, again, on behalf of Self-Empowerment Radio and myself, thank you so much for being a part of the show today. I really appreciate you having you on for the debut episode. And again, just much love and blessings. And of course, love and light from the one infinite creator to you as well.
Indeed, and to all. We love you.
Thank you very much, Carla. Thank you. And so what we're going to do right now is we're just going to take a little break, and when we come back, I'll just be doing kind of a wrap-up myself, giving a little bit of information myself in regards to, what's to come with Self-Empowerment Radio and what's to come in regards to what you can expect within Awakening Truth Worldwide and other amazing things. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you right after the break.
The launch of Awakening Truth Worldwide is just around the corner. You're invited to learn, grow, interact, and evolve in a new way like never before. Very soon, Awakening Truth Worldwide will launch to the world, featuring an online classroom, social community, and radio network of shows hosted by the teachers of Awakening Truth Worldwide, focused on shifting consciousness on a worldwide scale, allowing you to take live and on-demand, free and more in-depth workshops, courses, events, and conferences. Come take part in this amazing vision. Visit www.awakeningtruthworldwide.com and sign up. Be the first to know when we launch and go live. Join the movement of awakening.
The time to spread spiritual awareness has arrived. This summer, AreYouSelfEmpowered.com along with Awakening Truth Worldwide presents the Canadian Spiritual Freedom Tour. AreYouSelfEmpowered.com founder, Red Johnson, and his devoted ground crew travel across the West Coast from British Columbia to Alberta and back. Live music, meditation, energetic healing, spiritual teachings, and channeling are just a few of the features that will be offered through each venue within the tour. Come be a part of this one-of-a-kind tour beginning August 1st. Attendance to all events are by donation. Help us spread the word about the Canadian Spiritual Freedom Tour. Set your spirit free. For more information, visit www.areyouselfempowered.com/spiritualfreedom.
You can start following ATW right away. Awakening Truth Worldwide can be found on Facebook at facebook.com/awakeningtruthworldwide. Like our fan page and stay up to date with all breaking news, information, posts, and info about upcoming workshops and events, special guests, and radio shows throughout the week. As well, you can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/the ATW Movement. Start following ATW right now. The classroom, social community, and radio network of shows launches pretty soon. But you can start in on all the action right away. Head over to facebook.com/awakeningtruthworldwide and youtube.com/the ATW Movement. Join the movement of awakening.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Self-Empowerment Radio, and again, a part of Awakening Truth Worldwide. And so I wanted to thank again Carla Rueckert for being a part of the very first broadcast of Self-Empowerment Radio, part of the Awakening Truth Worldwide network here on Blog Talk Radio. And again, feel free to check out Carla's work. It is absolutely sensational. If any of you out there are, again, not too familiar with channeling, not too familiar what it's all about, you've heard a lot about the term of channeling, but you haven't really seen a lot of material in regards to it, I would always recommend checking out Carla's work with the Law of One, checking out llresearch.org, because again, the information is just so amazing and so in depth, and it's just a plethora of knowledge that relates to a technical end, that relates to a spiritual end as well too. So it is just an amazing, vast collection of divine knowledge brought forward from higher dimensional entities, from higher dimensional consciousness, that truly is the idea, the epitome of love and light harmony itself. So getting back on course to Self-Empowerment Radio, this is going to be the new kind of conduit to where we'll be doing some interviews as well too. Self-Empowerment TV will of course still continue. A lot of this information here on this radio program will be archived and created into video for Self-Empowerment TV as well. I'm just going to give an announcement that on the 30th of June, we're going to have Aaron McCullum coming back online for a 2-hour radio show event. And again, Aaron is going to be presenting a lot of information, and we could only really create like a drop of it that came out through our Self-Empowerment TV interview. But again, it's going to be some amazing information that's coming up there as well too. And of course, there's going to be the next online Adronis event that's going to be taking place on June 26th from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. It's called Adronis Interstellar Civilizations, and through this, we're going to establish contact with other extraterrestrial races in a group environment. So all you have to do is just go to areyouselfempowered.com, check out the Adronis Interstellar event or Interstellar Civilization event workshop, and you can register online. And just to save your spot, because amazingly, right now we've almost got about a quarter of the way full so far, and there's still a couple more weeks to go before, or less than a couple weeks to go, I guess you could say, before that session happens. And of course, space fills up very, very fast. So if you want, just feel free to go on to areyouselfempowered.com, sign up for that event. Again, it's going to be something absolutely phenomenal, to where people will actually be able to communicate with their own respective energies of civilizations that exist beyond the planet. And of course, Adronis is going to come through and give you the information, give you the insight, give you the guidance of what you need to do to establish contact with another ET race that is related to you in some form. And of course, that's always been one of the biggest topics as well too, actually most commonly in Adronis sessions is, where am I from? Do I have a connection with this race? Do I have a connection with that race? Am I Syrian? Am I Pleiadian? Am I Andromedan? Am I Arcturian? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the most common response is that you have been all of those. There hasn't been one thing in all of creation that you have not been. But because you're operating in a time progression form of reality, to where everything seems to have continuity, to where everything seems to have time, then you're just caught up in that continuity complex, thinking that that's all there is. It's just, well, I'm a human right now, but really, in that aspect, you have literally been every single thing that exists on the planet, including Earth herself. Because understand that Earth itself is a collective consciousness. That we are the Earth, and there's no separation between who we are as human and what the Earth herself is. She is the body for each and every single one of us. She is the essence that carries us into the understanding of principle of what we can do as being part of the cells of her body to cooperate, to unify, to actually work along with the Earth. And so getting into that whole understanding, this is what I feel channeling does that's just so outstanding and so beautiful, is that it really puts you into the perspective of understanding more of the mechanics, of the essence of who we are, of the function of the animals, the function of the plants and the vegetation, the function of the elements, the function of the planet, the function of other dimensions and other realities, the function of universal mechanics, the function of all of creation. This is exactly what it's all about. And as Carla has said, it is very easy to channel, but when you channel well, that's the challenge. And I could not agree with that any more than I already am aware of, because again, me just channeling Adronis it's coming up on 3 years right now, I've barely scratched the surface. There is so much information that he is literally sending me all the time, and again, it's like I described to Carla, as if you have a gigantic funnel right on top of your head. And, these beings are filling this funnel right to the brim with this divine essence of knowledge, this light, this liquid light. And you're trying to squeeze a little tiny drop out of that enormous vat of cosmic energy, of divine information. And every single person is going to channel differently. Every single person is going to have their own version of what is being sent to you. Really, the whole idea is that each and every single one of us right now is channeling. When you are just getting into the vibration of creating a song out of thin air, when you're in the vibration of creating this amazing piece of literature, this poem, this play, whatever it may be, this novel. Again, these are all states of channeling. When you just start spontaneously singing in the shower of a song that no one's ever heard of before, that's a state of channeling. When you go out into the garden and you start, digging up the dirt with your bare hands and start working with the earth and feel this warm sensation of the earth actually communicating with you, as you just knowingly work with the earth, work with the garden, work with the dirt, you're channeling. So again, who you are as a personality archetype is a channeling state. Do I like dogs? Do I hate war? Of course. Do I enjoy organic food? Do I enjoy organic gardening? What kind of relationship am I in right now? What kind of job do I have? Where am I living on this planet? What are things that are really, really amazing to me? What are things that really turn me off? These are all traits of a personality archetype that you have decided on a soul level to live out throughout this life in a channeling form. So again, you're already doing it. You're just not aware that you're doing it. So again, that's something to heavily look at is, we all go through life and we're caught up in the melodrama of a lot of things that happen. We're caught up in the idea, I got to pay my bills. I got to go to work today. I got to go pick up the kids. I got to go take them to soccer practice. I got to go home. I got to cook dinner. I got to clean the house. And then by the time the day is over, what did I accomplish? I'm going through myself to the idea of a constant feedback loop of drama. And again, everybody does have their own principles, their own understandings of what they need to accomplish in their life. But if you can even just take a minute, a couple of minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever you're comfortable with, and just spending some time with you, because we all understand that we have lives, we have families, we need to pay the bills, and that's understandable. But if you can just take a few minutes out of your life to step out of the drama complex and actually come into yourself and ask, what is it that I'm supposed to do on this planet? Who am I? What do I want? And of course, we shadow ourselves into thinking that, I got to do this job that I absolutely despise. I can't stand it, but it's something that I have to do. It's something that is going to pay my bills. It's something that's going to pay my rent. It's something that's going to create the idea of survival into myself. And of course, you have to understand that everything that represents the idea of survival is based upon stagnation. If I don't do this, that's the consequence. If I don't decide to do this form of job that I do not like, then, I'm out of a job and I'm not going to be able to pay my bills on time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And again, that's fine because that's what you feel is your comfort zone. But understand that that doesn't have to be the absolute finite idea of yourself. If you are truly passionate, and again, Adronis talks about this a lot, if you are fully passionate in doing something that you absolutely love, you have the ability to do it. You are never confined unless you believe you're confined. I've told this to so many people, over a span of 3 years now about this. And, all I can say is that me myself, I'm living proof that this works. Here I am right now doing my dream, working with my good friend Cohen with Awakening Truth Worldwide. His dream is literally a dream of my own. It's something that we've found compatible for ourselves. And, here we are with the birth of this immense, amazing organization. Here I am doing this radio show that is just so passionate and loving to me, interviewing wonderful people like Carla, and getting that insight. I mean, that was a dream come true to me, for me to talk to Carla, because the Law of One has impacted me so much throughout my beginnings of being a channeler. And again, it was just such an amazing experience to have that conversation with Carla, and of course getting that perspective from her as well too. So I mean, everybody has the ability to completely, fundamentally transform their own life into whatever it is that they want to pursue. Now, there have been times to where people say, I don't know what I want. I don't have a passion. I don't really have an idea, a clue of, what I want to pursue in this life. The reason being is because you're stuck within the illusion of boundaries. You're stuck into the illusion of thinking that, I just can't stand all these things that I'm doing with my life right now. I can't imagine of any other perspective other than the form of, quote unquote, enslavement I brought myself into to bring this into being. But understand that you're able to expand those belief systems. You're able to, just inflate it like a balloon. And I'm not talking about the idea of, just trying to take down all of the foundations that represent the structure of your own reality. Because if you try to do that, it's going to collapse down on top of you. So you really need to look at the idea of being able to expand. What is the validity of this belief system that is keeping me into the idea of pursuing this work or pursuing this relationship or pursuing this task that really does not represent myself? I need to do it because I need to pay bills, because I need money and I need to pay for my house, etc. Okay, do you not see that there's another way out there that you could be doing something that's super duper passionate within yourself that could do just the exact same thing? Oh, but I mean, my parents never told me I could actually do something like that. Well, there's the reason why that block is there. You're having that form of influence from others, thinking that you can't do something. You are able to do absolutely anything you wish. Again, Adronis just brings this out so strongly to people. Even the way I do it doesn't bring it justice, but the way I get into the channeling state and just bring this information out, it becomes so clear to people. Because when Adronis, again, is speaking, it's not that you're just hearing the words through me, but you're actually feeling him. You're feeling his presence in your mind. And he's literally showing you these images as I'm channeling him and bringing in this vocal processing as well, too. So again, you are able to transform your life into anything you want. You need to be valid on what you would consider to be the purpose for this belief system that's assigned to your life. Why do you feel it's important? Why do you feel it's there? Address it. How do you feel through your own imagination? Are you able to expand that form of belief system so that you can have an in-depth, very, very strong perception of looking at it and resolving it? We as humans all have a natural curiosity for investigation, but we're always looking at the idea of these projections to create a resolution to an investigation. But the greatest form of investigation is to investigate yourself, is to look at yourself and decide, is this what I really want in my life? Is this something that truly brings forward the reckoning of truth within myself? Is this something that, is really fulfilling my life with purpose? Heck no, it's not. I keep it clean in this radio station. But it's not. And this is exactly why it's so important for you to really analyze, investigate yourself. Be that investigator of self. Have the realization that you are capable of following your dreams, following your passion, that there is nothing in creation that will contradict what you are capable of. Even the raw material as well, too, talks about the idea of being completely infinite, of being part of the one, because you are part of all that is, and that you are able to fundamentally go any particular form of direction. The whole idea of the harvest, the idea of the service to self, or the service to others, there is those ideas in the polarity. And of course, the idea of the law of free will, which is one of the distortions, of course. And, when you really look at the idea of the raw material, it opens you up and it shows you whole new pathways you had never considered before. When you look at other particular form of channel material, some of the stuff that Rueckert is doing with Bashar, or some other channelers out there. Yes, of course, there's my own work, but I'm happy to talk about other channelers as well. But just looking at all these perspectives really gives you the idea that you're never stuck, that you are able to accomplish whatever it is you want to accomplish. But be the negotiator through self. Look into the investigation of why these things are here. Why are these particular structures put in place? What am I looking to prevent for myself to actually seeing? It's as if, we're in this big, gigantic mansion. And we know that this is it. This is the epitome of eternity, the epitome of the infinite. Is we're just in this gigantic mansion where you look outside the windows and there's this meadow that goes on forever, this beautiful, wonderful meadow. And there's no one else in this house. It's all yours. It's your mansion. It's your meadow. How would it feel if we just went over to the corner, took out a piece of chalk, drew a line in a very small part of the corner, and just sat in the corner and saying, that's it. This is all I deserve. I can't go anywhere else. This is it. This is my life. Oh, man, this is nice. Oh, is that the kitchen over there? One day I'm going to be able to get up off this spot and go check out that kitchen. Oh, but I can't right now. Got to stay behind the line. Got to stay in that corner. Well, this is all I deserve. This is what society is saying. This is all there is, right? It's a corner. That's my life. So again, look at the idea of the ridiculous form of that idea. Because when you limit yourself on belief systems, you're taking out that chalk and you're drawing that line in the corner, and then you're standing behind that line and saying, oh, I better not dare cross that chalk. Because this is what society is, in that sense, brought forward to the idea of my influence that represents the belief systems that have created this kind of paradigm. So, step beyond the chalk line. Negotiate with yourself, saying, okay, you can step to the chalk. You see anybody else around you that's going to stop you from doing that. It's an empty mansion. There's a meadow that goes on forever beyond the mansion. Why not go outside? Step outside and explore what the meadow is and discover exactly new forms of ideas that you have never conceived before. When you are able to negotiate with yourself and you are able to actually fundamentally bring the expansion point of the belief systems and, in that sense, safely take them down so that you can see what has been cast upon your eyes in the form of a veil your entire life. This is where the passion begins, because you are playing with all that is. You are playing with the one infinite creation. Reality exists so that you can play with all of it. It's not about focusing your mind on one particular thing, because then you're focusing on one particular cell of a honeycomb when there's all these infinite honeycombs around you. Play with all that is. That's really the idea here. So as Adronis has said, he says, all that is exists for you to interact with it, for you to play with it. It's not just here for a beautiful view and thinking, oh, I wish I could be infinite. But if you're not able to actually do the work, to take action upon actually negotiating with the self and actually allowing this information to come through and actually allowing yourself to be the negotiator of self, expanding those belief systems, and then safely taking them down. You can be as infinite as you wish. That's the key. There is no idea of being inside a box, going beyond that box and being stuck into another box. That only happens upon belief. That does not happen to the idea of the natural course of order within playing of all that is. You are as infinite as you wish to be. Yes, there is a collective. Yes, you are functioning within a collective grid of other beings upon this planet. Yes, your manifestations will virginize to collaborate in a chain reaction effect with each and every single person upon your planet, on our planet. Here I am talking with the Adronis now. Having this kind of interface upon Earth. And so it's really, really important to understand that you are limitless, because if you feel that you're limited and brought forward that the idea that a wall is going to come up if you try to explore something, then that's exactly what you create. You put that wall there. Nobody else can ever put these walls in front of you because they're illusionary. If anybody tried to, you just walk through it. It's not your creation. And no other being can really step into your mind and say, you can't come here, bam, that's it. This is the wall in front of you that I've placed. So I'll walk right through it. It's not my creation. Therefore, I can walk through that. So really look at yourself as being the infinite. Really look at yourself as being the person that is able to perceive and propel themselves past anything that you can possibly imagine. And again, this is where it can all begin, through the idea of channeling, through the idea of getting into hypnosis, through the idea of studying spiritual practices, through the idea of just getting into something as simple as yoga, or getting something into simple as the martial arts, because again, they teach you about the idea of discipline of the mind. And that's really what you want to do, is that those who are disciplined in the mind, who are able to surrender themselves to all that is, surrendering in the form that is appropriate for your own expansion, then you're able to understand the fundamental principle of the puzzle of all that is. In this third density realm, we have a certain viewpoint of what the jigsaw puzzle is. In higher dimensions, fourth density, fifth density, sixth density, seventh density, etc., we're able to see more of that puzzle. Because think of it in the idea as when you're on the ground level, and that those higher dimensions represent the mountaintop. That your own higher self, based upon the idea of the principle of it being non-corporeal consciousness, is at the top of that mountain and is actually looking at all that exists below the mountain range and saying, this is what I can see. Well, hey, here's more of a look. Here's more of a perspective of what the infinite jigsaw puzzle is. And that you can interact with those beings. You may not be able to stand on top of that mountain with those beings as they are in the higher densities, but you can pick up a radio and say, higher self, what's it like up there? Oh, man, it's beautiful. I can see your house from here. Hey, if you go forward a bit, go 10 steps, turn left, you're going to find this really incredible cafe of knowledge. Jump in the knowledge cafe and see exactly what it feels like. Pretty cool from my perspective. Does it sound pretty neat to you? Oh, sure, why not? I'll go check out the knowledge cafe. So again, using that particular form of analogy, this is the operation of the higher dimensional levels, that they can communicate with you. And they can, give you the guidance about what you want to do. But it's your choice to walk a few of those steps, turn left, and then go to the knowledge cafe. It's your choice. They're never going to do it for you. And that's the whole idea, is that no matter who anybody else is, they can't make decisions for you. You are the ultimate determiner of your own experience. So again, that's something just to look into today, is just, discover more of yourself. Look into the idea of exploring the self, of finding out what forms of barriers, borders, belief systems that you have placed inside yourself to give you the illusion of limitation. Can they be taken down? Are you able to expand them, take them down safely, and explore the vast beyond, the boundlessness of who you truly are? Why not give it a shot? You only have forever. You are an infinite, eternal being. You will always exist. You are never dying. There is no death. There is only transformation. So again, that's something to look at, something to perceive, something to really, put into thought of that idea. Become boundless. Live the life you've always wanted to live. So I want to thank each and every single one of you today for tuning into Self-Empowerment Radio. Again, this will be archived through Blog Talk Radio, so if by chance you've missed most of what was discussed today, or you didn't have a chance to check this out during the live broadcast, feel free to check out the archive later on. And again, I want to thank Carla Rueckert for being a part of the debut episode of Self-Empowerment TV. And just a reminder to everybody, don't forget to check out another Awakening Truth Worldwide member, Selena Ashley Wong, as she will be debuting her new radio show on the Awakening Truth Worldwide network called Connect Project Love, and that's going to be happening every Sunday at 5 p.m. here on Awakening Truth Worldwide, so feel free to check her out. I did an interview with Selena not too long ago. She is a wonderful person. I'm going to be seeing if we can get involved together with the Spiritual Freedom Tour that's coming up, and of course going up to Kelowna there, where she is from. Have some fun with the tour there, with her along for the ride. So again, that's Connect Project Love. I believe that's what it's called. Connect Project Love Radio, every Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And again, just feel free to check her out. It's going to be an amazing show. And so I want to thank each and every single one of you for tuning into the broadcast today. Thank you very much for being a part of the very first episode of Self-Empowerment Radio. And again, join us in approximately 2 weeks' time for the interview with Aaron McCullum. I may have another interview that may be coming up next week. We'll see how things go. But who can say? Everything's kind of spontaneously coming together with the way I am. So very, very spontaneous, free-flowing kind of guy. So anyways, thank you, everybody, for tuning in to Self-Empowerment Radio. I will talk to you again very, very soon. If you have any questions, just feel free to drop me an email at info@areyourselfempowered.com. Thank you again. Take care of yourselves. Follow your passion. Follow your dreams. Namaste.
Thank you for listening. Remember to check out our website, www.areyourselfempowered.com.